accepted them.
Okay.
There it goes.
It answered. Okay. How are you doing, young lady?
I'm great. How are you?
Like I said, peachy. Not bad. Not bad. What time is it out there anyway?
It's 4 p.m.
Not bad. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, it's a great time. Do you want this to be more about yourself and your journey, the questions, I mean, or do you want it to be more about your services and your clients?
Take it wherever you want to go. I know you wanted to speak about more so the case studies. You were really intrigued by that. So however you want to take it, I'm all game for it.
I don't have much questions on that, but
Okay.
so if you want to post it in your Facebook, let's start by introducing yourself.
By
Introducing yourself.
introducing myself. Oh, shucks. Okay. So I'm just Otis here. So I've been a physio trainer for a little bit under 15 years. What I do is right now, currently, I help coaches be better physio trainers and I coach them into doing that better. So you know how coaches kind of get frustrated of the constant high turnover rates and losing clients and more so not knowing how to progress their clients from injury or having their boo-boos into something in more athletic into their goals. So that's what I kind of do. I kind of insert myself, give them some type of system to follow, give them some type of parameters, and also teach them how to troubleshoot things and more so make their clients more independent. So teach their clients to be independent and troubleshoot their things too. So that's what I kind of do in a nutshell. That's where I'm at.
What drives you as a personal trainer? Do you seek flexibility or you want to escape like 9-to-5 jobs?
What drives? Well, what started me out was that I personally had body ailments, shall we say. So, like I said, when I was born, I had a body deficiency. I had a leg discrepancy of 4 inches, and I wasn't supposed to walk according to the doctors because my foot, so this is like my shin, my top of my foot was kind of here. And they basically said because of that, I wouldn't be able to walk. So I kind of defined that. But that led into like two knee surgeries before I was, I don't know, 7, 8-ish, something like that. I was in elementary school. So that kind of led me down the path of having different type of issues where my spine was shifting, my hip was shifting. I had all types of fun things, but still active, still fun, never really let it bother me. So, and with that, on top of that, I was dealing with like childhood obesity as well. So I have like a cool picture somewhere. I'll post it somewhere where at the age of 10, I was like close to 200 pounds. So that's not the healthiest thing. So I was always dealing with that, but like I said, still jubilant, kind of happy, still active of things of that nature. Um, let's skip it into like high school and stuff of that nature. I kind of got into like football, but football was fun, kept me active, but I started getting injuries. And the big one I had was by the age of 16, I had a back surgery. So I had a herniated disc in my back, which I deal with right now. It's kind of like a forever thing. It's like my new best friend where I kind of have to learn how to manage it. So going through all that, I had two kind of primary goals was basically I had to try to control my weight and also control my weight while managing my injuries. So we skip into college and stuff like that. Undergrad, wanted to be I was a psych major. I kind of wanted to go and try to cure Alzheimer's. So the story behind that is I forget everything. I have like a goldfish. I have the memory of a goldfish. So I don't really remember anything. So I'm like, when I get older, I need to find something because I'm not going to remember where I put my underwear at 10 minutes ago. So I need something for that. But that was my driving goal. But on the side, I was kind of helping people with their weight loss. They were seeing me cutting weight. So fast forward where I'm at now in undergrad, at the age of 18, 19, I'm roughly 300 pounds. All right. So it was getting bad. So people saw me in one semester, which is approximately 6 months. Yeah, about 6 months, something like that. They saw me cut from about 300 pounds to about 230. So they were like, okay, what are you doing? So I'm kind of slowly getting introduced into personal training kind of thing. So I'm giving them tips, I'm giving them advice and stuff of that nature. And the biggest thing that kind of got me really motivated and really, really jumping into it is by the age of 21, my mother passed because of a heart failure. And because one of the reasons was because she was overweight. So I kind of took that like completely serious. I kind of really jumped into it. I really started
That
studying it. Yeah.
that was your rock bottom moment.
Yeah, that was that. It was bad. I was like, I was at school and no, wrong. That's another story. Where I was at, I was going to school. I was getting up to go to school, and it was just me and her in the house. And unfortunately, I found her passed in the bathroom, like gone. And she was deceased for about, I think they said about 3 hours. So that kind of like jump started me into it. It's like I had to take everything serious. I had to take my health serious. I was like, I need to live longer and stuff like that. So that made me really focus in on nutrition. It made me focus on how to train. It made me focus on managing my body and better in mind as well. So that kind of undergrad, I'm starting to train people just for fun. Train people, show people different things of what I'm doing. And as I'm doing this, I'm cutting down from about 230 and I went down to about 200. So I'm still progressing and people are still progressing. So my aha moment of getting into the field, because I didn't know there was a field to this. So the field is kinesiology. So one day I'm going to some gym with my random friends, and some guy I've talked to, he just for whatever reason decided to speak to me, and he told me about the field kinesiology. So he basically said in a nutshell that everything you're doing in the gym right now, you can go get a degree for it and get paid to do exactly what you're doing now. And that told me, I said, I'm in. I don't want to wear a suit. I don't want to do 9 to 5. I can help people. I can lift weights. I'm in. This is all for it. So I kind of shift out of psychology and I went into exercise phys. Went to grad school, got the master's, blah, blah, blah. And I just been kind of rolling down the rabbit hole ever since then. So that's my story in a quick nutshell.
Wow, that was a journey, honestly.
Mhm.
So, some people believe that fame is the key to success, especially in online businesses. That
Mhm.
the more followers you have and the more popular you get, the more you will sell your services.
Mhm.
But not necessarily, like people might know you, but not necessarily are interested in purchasing your services. So,
Mhm.
in your opinion, what are some myths that online personal trainers commonly believe in?
Uh, Actually, the one you mentioned, the more famous or the more people that know you, the more success you will have. I will kind of push back on one, how are you defining your success? Are you defining the people, are you defining your success as how many people know you or how many people you are influencing in the world? So me personally, I prefer the influencing people, changing people's lives more than people following me. So I can have 1 million followers, but only really influencing or changing 1,000 people. So that's not 1,000 people is not bad, but compared to 1 million people, you could probably have a better ratio. So my definition of success is how independent and how much am I influencing your lifestyle? So let's take an example. Let's go off the top of the head. I had a client about 6 years ago. She had knee surgery. So she before that she was very active. She was like always doing something. She was in her mid 40s at the time. She was always doing everything, like never stay still. So she had this meniscus knee surgery, and that kind of made her depressed because within 3 months she had gained 30 pounds. She wasn't active. She didn't know how to go about getting her active lifestyle. She felt like she was hopeless. So she kind of enrolled in with me at the gym. At the time, I was known as the Mr. Troubleshooter or Mr. Fix It. So they kind of enrolled in me. We kind of went through like a mindset kind of thing, telling her it's okay, letting her know that there are some things that she can do, and we're going to work towards what her ultimate goal was. So within 3 months, she basically started dropping weight. Within that 6 months, she was able to do things that she wasn't able to do in the past 2 years after her knee surgery. which was like something simple like getting up and down the stairs, that something like that, picking things off the floor without having to worry about her knee, stuff like that. I deem that as successful because I have impacted this lady's life forever, and she takes these same tools with her now. We still converse now. We still periodically train now. She's a busy woman, but we still have check-ins and stuff like that now. So that, in my opinion, is successful. Not necessarily anything wrong with the other ways of being having a million, 2 million in followers, but my goal is to impact people for the rest of their lives and have their lives changed by me helping them. So that's my definition of success.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, I love that definition. I wish people more aim towards that way because that will gain them more success in the end rather than just fame.
It's more fulfilling.
Yeah. What are the typical traits that people who reject your offer or your service?
Most of the people that reject me are people that want to be dependent on me, that kind of want me to carry them through. So I'll explain that more. So my philosophy is I'm trying to coach you through so you don't need me. I don't want you to need me. I want you to want me, not need me. So what I mean by that is I don't want you to feel like, all right, you are my solution. I don't have to do any work. You're doing everything. I'm just here. This is the philosophy, well, at least in my realm of physiology, is people come to you and they say, all right, come fix me. I'm here. Versus, no, I need you to take control back over your health and understand that I'm teaching you how to manage yourself so you can be independent. So once you are independent, you don't need me. Now, if you feel like you want to stay with me because I can constantly help you grow, that's totally different versus I need you. All right. So that people that doesn't want that, they usually reject me. A lot of people that want the quick results. So like I need to lose 30 pounds in like 6 weeks. I'm like, if I know how to do that consistently, I'll be a trillionaire. I will never work again because I can just bottle up and give it to everyone. So that's not realistic. So most people that want the quick results, I typically don't bother with them. I'm like, there are other trainers out there that can do that. I don't really do that. I'm more so I know my niche, so I'm into the more of the mindsets. You're trying to enjoy the journey, not necessarily the destination, and try to make you better and trying to make you more independent. So I like teaching teachers. I like that aspect. So anyone that's not in that, I tell them straight up, like I'm not for you. I have plenty of references. I have plenty of trainers that you can go here, you can go here, you're here, but like I'm not the one for you. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay. It's less stress. I enjoy the person I'm with. I'm like, it's better for both of us because if you're not for me and I'm not for you, we're both going to hate it. We're going to regret and we're not going to like the session. So it's like, you know what? It's better just to cut ties and say, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. We still be friends. I'll check in on you just as a person, but yeah, we can't do this at all. So
Yeah. So what did you learn in the process of training people?
what did I learn? Is there anything a
Yeah.
little bit more specific? That's very,
You know,
very vague.
like
You frozen. Okay, say that all over again. I didn't hear anything you just said.
something you didn't expect in that field, but you learned it in the process.
That most people view trainers as their therapists. I didn't
Okay.
realize how much of behavioral and therapy work that I'll have to be doing in this field. I thought everyone would be motivated, everyone would be disciplined. Everyone would just be like, all right, I just need you to give me XYZ and I'll do it on my own. I promise you that's like the minority. If I find someone like that, they are an alien. And I am grateful for getting them. Most people, we're having more behavioral and coaching conversations than anything, than working out. Sometimes had clients reveal some things to me that their spouse they don't even know, still don't know. I've had times where we talk or I give a cue and they break down and cry. And now I have to kind of like walk it back in and figure out what just happened, let them know that it's okay, and try our best to get through this new session that we're having now, which is a conversation versus exercise. So I found out that this whole training thing is more so an excuse to connect with people. That's how I use it. And exercise is just a way in. I'm just trying to connect with you. And I've learned to embrace that. Before it was just like, no, I'm like the technician. I know this muscle, I know that muscle. And people don't care about that. They really don't. And to be honest, the exercise and all that, it's not even what they buy you for. They're buying you as the person, and they're just using the exercise as an excuse because you can Google any of the programs and it'll probably work if they're disciplined. The key is making them disciplined and building habits for them. That's kind of the key. So I've learned to shift to the softer side and not so much the hard sciencey stuff because most people have no idea what I'm talking about. So I just stay away from that and go more on the behavioral side. So that's the biggest takeaway I've gotten out of my experience in this field.
Okay, yeah, that was something. The fact that they take you as a therapist, that's hard.
Yes, I promise you, if you ask any trainer that's been in it for maybe a year, you'll realize how many conversations you're having of they just want to come and vent to you because maybe at home they don't have that, or maybe this is their free time, maybe this is their stress-free zone where they just need to get it out, they need to get that frustration out, or they feel safe around you, which trainers should take that as a compliment that they feel safe enough to reveal themselves to you, but trainers should not abuse that and they should take that not very lightly because that is very precious. If I open myself up to you, I'm giving my soul and I'm giving my body to you and I'm entrusting you to not abuse that because I'm vulnerable to you right now. So I take it very seriously when you give me stuff like that. I keep that close to the heart and I don't really take that for granted. So it's a beautiful thing, but you kind of have to be very cautious around that range. You should never really be talking about your client. If you are, it should be like a very vague thing to get overall advice, but it shouldn't be specific enough so people know who you're speaking about. So,
Yeah, that's
excuse
pretty
me.
challenging, honestly.
Mhm.
So, what usually holds back online personal trainers from starting their businesses online instead of in person?
I would say it's twofold. One, they do not know how to convince is the wrong word. They don't know how to transition people from being in person to online. And that comes back to the issues that I was speaking about earlier. Most people view trainers as the trainer is doing most of the work. They're working me out. They are getting the diet plan. They're doing all this, where they heavily depend on you to do it in person. They're gonna hold me accountable. They're gonna crack the whip per se. Where online, it's more of a guidance and coaching and getting you through it. So online is more like the tour guide. I'm really guiding you through it. You're doing the work, but I'm guiding you through it. Versus in person is like the travel agent. I'm just going to drop you off. I do the work, and you kind of do it on your own. So online, you need the client to be intrinsically motivated and independent. But you're gonna have to find a bridge from them being that dependent idea to independent and you kind of have to bridge that appropriately, so that is very 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 tricky in that and just most people don't really know about it. Yes, it's been booming for the past, let's say, 6 years or so maybe, but people just don't really know about it and they view training as a luxury, not necessarily a necessity. So that's another thing where trainers are having problems where they're not viewed as um, a necessity in their lives, particularly in the physio world, because most people have like a weird bucket. They can't really put the physio trainer somewhere. They've all right, are you a therapist or you're a fitness trainer? Are you trying to get me
Yeah.
aesthetics or you're trying to help me with this. It's like I'm like the bridge. I'm kind of like once you get out of physio, I'm kind of like bridging you into it. So it gets a little tricky with that. And I think the last thing for a lot of trainers, they don't know their niche. They don't know who they're targeting. They just say, I'm going to cast a wide net out there and I'm going to train anybody. I'm like, that is a strategy. That probably is not the best strategy. I mean, it's okay if you have first start out and you just need bodies. Let's just be honest. If you need bodies to train, great. Train everybody. I probably would tell you don't do this online. You probably need in-person training to train everybody. Once you get your hands and cut your teeth underneath that, then you can start narrowing it down. But most people don't know their niche. They will just train weight loss, muscle gain. They will do postpartum. They will do rehab. They'll just do everything. I'm like, if you're online, you have to pick one or two max niche, and you have to be able to understand their problems before it comes up. If you don't understand their problems before it comes up, how are you going to be able to troubleshoot it? Because when you're in person, you're able to troubleshoot it a little easier. So if the person has a back problem, you're able to catch it and kind of troubleshoot it right then and there. But if they're training online, particularly if they're not doing like a live session, you're just giving them a program, you check in, you have to be able to anticipate, okay, if this person has back pain, and it usually has back pain when they do some type of extension movement, I know this movement and that movement might provoke this problem, and I need to have some kind of modification if they complain that this has back pain. And I need to be able to articulate this to them. So if you feel this, if you feel that, stop it and go here. If you don't feel this, you don't feel that, you can continue. This is where the independence come in. So you need more thought into this. You can't just jump into it. You have to think it through thoroughly. At least I do. I spend a lot of time thinking about, okay, what's this? What's that? What could happen here? What could happen there? So when I actually give it to them, all I have to do is ask, did you feel this? Did you feel that? Okay, keep going. If you feel this, you feel that, okay, go this way. So it's easier on the back end. I do all the work on the front end. Man, that was a tangent.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely not easier as people think it is.
Mhm.
But from the information I've gathered, it seems that online PTs are struggling the most with targeting the right audience. But I initially believed that acquiring clients or closing sales calls was the biggest challenge.
Mhm.
So, can you shed some light on whether it's more challenging to target the right audience or closing sales calls?
I think it's both because if you know your audience, you won't have to sell them anything. You're just presenting them your service. You're sorting them out. You're just offering what you can do to help their problem. When you're trying to sell them, it's almost like you're trying to convince them. You're trying to manipulate them in a certain way, which I don't necessarily approach. I have a very conversational kind of thing. And in honest, it's like I don't even know if my service will actually help your problem. So I just have to have a conversation and kind of figure out where you're at, where you're going, what you're trying to do, and all the other little stuff, little nitty gritties. And if I feel that my service is appropriate for you, I would just offer it to you like, oh, okay, it's raining, you're getting wet. Here, I have an umbrella. Here, it's kind of like that versus I have to sell you. I don't want to have to sell you because I'm in a position of manipulation. I can manipulate you with my words and presentations, and now you have buyer remorse and you don't really like it. You felt bullied or you felt boxed in. A lot of trainers feel like they need to box them in and make them like, no, you need to do this right now. I'm like, you're not going to have this client long. You're really not. I mean, so I don't necessarily think of it as selling for me, but if you know your audience, you understand them, you empathize with them, you know the ins and outs of them, so you can see where their gaps at and where you can fill it. And it's more of a softer farming kind of sorting kind of thing versus a sell aggressive, let me get you in so I can worry about the next person. That's just not how I work. I'm kind of like opposite of most people or most trainers do. So for me, selling is not the hardest. I would say the more difficult thing is convincing people or allowing people to fail enough to see their mistakes, so I could present the issue for them. Most people in the fitness world, they'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna go YouTube it. I'm like, you can. You really, really, really can. But I will ask you, I'm like, you can also YouTube how to do your electricity in your house. Would you do that? No. What about being a doctor? Would you YouTube how to get rid of bronchitis? Because it's all over the internet. You can find everything on the internet. Would you do that? No. So why are you kind of playing Russian roulette with the most precious thing you have, which is your body? Because you only have one, you're stuck with it. If you do some boo-boo thing, trust me, you're gonna have to learn how to manage it. And if you don't have someone that has a slight idea of how to help you manage it, what are you gonna get? You're gonna make the problem worse. And now we're really gonna have to dig into it to kind of dig you out of the hole that you could have kind of avoided if you just got coaching in the first place. So yeah, that's how I kind of feel about that. Mm-mm. I can go
Yeah. Well, these are all my questions. I don't know. Do you want to dive in your case studies or because I
Yeah,
don't have any more.
we can dive into the case studies. So I already briefly told you about one. What is another off the top of my head? Okay, so another one, we're gonna call her Susan, okay? Susan was a sedentary kind of young lady, but she decided she know what she needs to be active. Someone told her she needs to be more active and get out there. So Susan decided, I'm gonna pick up skiing. Okay, great. Go ski.
Okay.
Great. So Susan was doing fine. She was skiing and she decided to go down a hill a little higher than which her skill set to be. And she ruptured her ACL, MCL, meniscus, like the trifecta, blowing her knee out. So that was a very, very interesting rehab. She did, I don't know, 3, 4 months of physio rehabilitation. They got down, they got rid of the pain, but she just wasn't, it didn't feel like her knee. It felt like she was something else, like it was a foreign object. So she kind of got into the gym. She joined the gym. Honestly, she was referred to me by someone in the gym. They weren't my client, but they knew me enough to, they referred her to me, which was kind of cool. So, okay, we did our assessment and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, Susan, what are you trying to do? She was like, okay, I want to try to ski again. I'm like, do you really want to go down that route again? All right, fine. What else do you want to do? All right, I want to be able to get down on the ground and kneel. I'm like, okay, that's decent. You should. She was maybe late 30s. So I'm like, yeah, you should be able to get to the ground or not. Okay. So we kind of went through the assessment, we went through that, and in the beginning, the first 2 to 3 weeks, it was all mindset. Right now, she didn't believe in her knee at all. She didn't believe in her body. She didn't trust her body. She didn't trust anything about it. Everything was gloom and doom. So I probably spent easily half the session convincing her or allowing her to convince herself that her body is not going to fail her and she needs to learn how to trust it slowly again. So we did that for about 3 weeks. And eventually we started doing more activities, starting with basic stuff, squats, lunges, stairs, blah, blah, blah. And then we started transitioning, getting her up and down off the ground. And we did a little plyo, maybe 3 weeks into. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritties of that, but more so at the end of this, about 6 months in, she was able to do basically not run up the stairs, but go up the stairs really fast, almost like a hopping, but not really hopping. So she was not able to do that before. She would just do like the baby step, and now she's kind of hopping without her knowing. That was the key. She didn't know she was doing. I'm like, do you know you just kind of like ran up the stairs? She was like, no. I'm like, yeah, you kind of ran up the stairs. Just think about it. She was like, I did. I'm like, aha. She said, aha. And fist bump, it was kind of cool. So the moral of that story is now I actually still speak to her once in a while. She's doing great. She actually went back to skiing. She got a coach. She got a
Okay.
coach.
Yeah. Smart.
Smart. I'm like, at least you learned. So she got her coach. She's skiing. She actually loves it. She's doing other stuff, biking. Now she's more adventurous because now she feels that she is more in tune with her body and she's more in tune with her knee. And she feels that if she does have like a little pain or ache, she's able to handle it right then and there. So I'm like, you know what? That is inspiring for me. I appreciate that. And I love her to death for that. So that is like one of my proud moments. Like stuff like that makes me giddy and smile inside. I'm like, yeah, I helped someone
Yeah,
kind of
made
get
her
their help back.
herself. You made her believe in herself.
Yeah.
How long do you train people for? Is it until you feel like they're independent enough to leave you?
Okay, so I'll give you ideal and then I'll give you realistic. Ideally, I would try to say until they're independent. Now, there's very many factors. How disciplined are they? How motivated are they? Are they there for themselves? Is someone else forcing them to be there? So if say the person is really disciplined and motivated and the goal is moderate, uh, I can train them maybe 6 months, maybe a year. And then if it's a year and the goal is moderate, I kind of graduate them. I tell them, okay, we've gotten to the point. Oh, look at the kitty. Okay, we've gotten to the point where you are relatively independent, and I need you to go out there and try this on your own without me. I need you to try it on your own without me for at least 2, 3 months. You can check in, you can call, but I am not going to oversee this. I'm going to let you be, and if you need to, you can come back to me in 3 months. That's like idea. Realistically, a big factor is I usually ask people how much time I have. Like, what's your expectation? Are you expecting me to get you there in 3 weeks, or you're giving me 8 weeks? So that's big. Two, what's the particular goal? If it's like aesthetics, it's like, okay, I'll give you the basics and I'm gonna kind of let you do it on your own because that's what it is. If it's more of a body part, which is my bread and butter, depends on the issue. If it's like a full restructuring, then there's a certain protocol. If it's like a cute boo boo, it's relatively quick. I would say weeks more than months. So it really depends. I would say the average person that I train is like 6 months. But I'm not gonna lie, I have a client that I've been training for 10 years. They just don't want to go. There's like, I don't need to go anywhere. It's like I can do it on my own, but like, I just don't want to. See, that's what I mean. Like I want you to want me, not need me. There's like I could do it on my own. I try other people. I just like you. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, okay. So it really it varies in between. I have one that was 10 years. I have another one that was like almost seven. I have another one that was like 4.
Well,
So it's
you're
it's
okay
just
with years.
yeah. I mean,
You're okay with years?
yeah, I'm okay with that. So I gave them the tools, but they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really want to leave you. I'm like, okay. I'm not sure how I feel. I'm like, I feel like you kind of trying to marry me a little bit, but okay. Like you understand that this is not going to be a forever thing. They're like, yeah, we get that, but yeah, you're not going anywhere. I'm like, okay. All right, I'm not going to argue that. I'm like, you like me, you like me. That's cool. But yeah.
That was amazing, actually.
Well,
Well, I think our session ends here. What do you
that
think?
last part, you broke in and out.
I think our session ends here. What do you think?
No, that was cool. You got me rambling and you got me on 2 rants within 40 minutes. That's pretty good. Mhm.
That was my best attempt.
Okay, this was fun. I appreciate this.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, allowing me to kind of like get all these crazy thoughts out of my head and into the world. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.